So hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Hellish Hot Takes podcast. Today we're going to be talking about a couple different things going on in the gaming side of the industry right now. Donovan wanted to start by talking about Apex. So you
Three guns.
Oh yeah, you're talking about
Three guns.
he's not in the game yet. From what I've seen, they still they haven't added him yet. But you're talking about Ballistic's new abilities.
His new passive. Three flipping gun.
Yeah, but did you see the doesn't the third one have like reduced either ammo?
No.
I
When
saw
he
something about
ults,
that.
it gets increased damage and becomes legendary.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's pretty wild.
So when he ults, his slinged weapon becomes legendary. I
Jesus.
don't know if it actually gets increased damage. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Imagining things, but legendary. It just instantly becomes legendary. From what I understand, it doesn't get reduced damage. I haven't read anything about that. But 3 guns, which means no reload times for 3 whole gun clips.
Jesus.
That's an insane amount of bullets you can throw without having to reload.
Yeah, it really is.
That's the meta, to be honest with you.
Honestly, I don't know either. But I don't know. I played a couple games today and got absolutely
I know you
rolled.
did. I bet you did.
It's pretty rough, man. Like, I mean, the first couple games I was like, whatever, because I'm like, I don't remember how to play this game. Like, my settings were all off. And I'm like, I'm trying to fight people, and I'm like, how do I cast my abilities? Like, all over again. It was rough.
Oh, man. Honestly, about how they're changing the system, their matchmaking system, and how to win games and stuff. I never got to play in season 2. I started in season 3 when they brought in the meltdown map for the first time.
Yeah. It's really not that bad. Like, it's not as bad as I make it out to be. It is just like, but it is like a step backwards. I don't really understand. Like, I guess it's kind of like,
Well, because they realize that there's more flaws with doing kills, because people who are really good at kills will just drop hot, right? Get a whole bunch of kills, die, and then leave and go do another game, right? Regardless of it demotes the whole point of what they push with the game, which is teamwork.
yeah, but they still had to like make it to, because in the higher ranks at least, you have to make it pretty far with kills.
Only to a point, because you could get 30 kills, die, and still get max points, even if you don't place.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I don't really.
With 100 and with like over 100 people in a match, oh god, 30 kills. That's so hard.
It's just like I feel like there's other things they could have did a little better with it, because like it's like the season thing is cool and all, but it's like there's nothing really done about the ratting. Like that kind of just makes it a little easier, and then the cheating problem is still a big issue and doesn't really do anything about
they're
that.
working on the cheating problem. They're actually one of the few companies that actually like actively put things into trying to stop the cheating. I mean, look at Rogue Company. The cheating is there, it's so rampant, but like they don't do anything to it. Granted, the game is dying, but they've given up.
It's not as bad as it used to be. It was a lot worse when I played it. Did you have anything else to say about Apex?
Oh yeah, I have a lot to say about Apex.
Well, go off, Queen.
About the whole rank placement and how to get points and stuff. Some people are going to be happy about it. Some people aren't going to be happy about it. But like, they have 3 choices: either do kills placement or mixture of kills and placement. There is no third choice currently.
I mean, they did do quite a bit of things in the patch. Like they did a couple of things I can at least think of right now that are huge W's for the game. Like they basically, I think they. I don't know if it's completely gone, but SPMM has been. Yet. I've just heard like summaries, but SPMM has been basically completely like either taken out or completely reworked. So they.
Which ones?
SPMM or Apex.
I don't know who that is.
Matchmaking.
Oh, right, skill-based matchmaking. So I'll be honest with you. I don't like skill-based matchmaking.
No one does. Not a single person.
I understand the concept behind it, right?
Yeah, like
people that are just starting the game don't get placed with people that have been playing for since the game started, right?
But they still do.
That doesn't mean you're good.
But they still do. That's the thing. That's why it's so hated, is because like that's what it's supposed to do, but no game has perfected it to a point where that's where it actually does. And it doesn't. It does that, but it also doesn't stop smurfing. Like it's completely.
No.
There's nothing you can do about that. But it's like
smurfing's a bannable offense, but like it's a Smurf account. They're just losing an extra account.
Like no one
they care.
No one likes it. Like pro players don't like it because they had like you don't want to have to sweat every game. Casual players don't like it because you don't want to have one game where you just absolutely pop off and you get like.
And then the very next one you drop maybe one single kill.
Yeah, you get
and then fucking die.
You get immediately like decimated. Like guy slides, wall jumps off you, and then one taps with a peacekeeper to the head. Like it's not fun. But what they basically did,
he slides under your legs, jumps up, wall jumps off your head, and then one taps your head with the peacekeeper from 30 feet away.
One taps your head, gives you 99 damage, and then tickles your balls and finishes you off.
Yeah,
right. What happens. But what they basically did was, which is it's really cool. They basically reworked it to where now, so people who are solo queuing like me have a higher chance in the I don't think it works. I don't think it's exactly working in ranked. I think it's mainly for the casual side of it, like normal.
Which is good. I play casual.
Yeah, I think it's better to play casual anyways. Ranked is really destroying.
It's not how you used to be.
No, it's not. I'm super competitive, but like I've played so many different games, and I've played ranked in every game. I've played ranked in Rainbow Six. I've played ranked in Valorant and Apex and PUBG. I've played it in every game, and it's just. I
thought you never played PUBG.
No, I play PUBG a lot. I just don't like PUBG. I'll get into that in a second. But so what it is like for solo queuing, when you group up with solos, it used to be you would still have a chance of getting like a 3-stack, versus a 3-stack. Well, now they've made it to where they can't guarantee it, obviously, because sometimes you just can't get that many solo queue players all at once. But they have increased the odds of you getting in lobbies with other people on the enemy team that are also solo queuing, or duoing as well.
Yeah.
So you won't just get 3 stacks all the time. It's a really good change.
I like that they brought back Murder Tower.
Yeah, dude, I love their new class system. It's much.
You mentioned earlier off camera something about 5 classes, and we only did 4. What's the 5th class?
I can't even remember all of them. Like I said, there's the assault class, which is like the extra weapon chest that only they can get access to. And they're pinged on the map too. Like when you're floating over.
That was Skirmisher.
No, I think Skirmisher is the second one. I think the first one's assault. Skirmisher, I can't remember exactly what theirs is. And then there's support, which is like they get the ability to craft their allies' banner now, which is pretty sick. And they still get that extra slot in the blue chest, in the medical chest. And then recon, obviously, they just get recon tower scans. They actually put support actually has 4 classes now. I think they made Gibby a support, which I don't think he was before. Wasn't he like an assault?
He's a tank.
Yeah, he's support now. He's support. So it was him, Lifeline, Loba, and I can't remember what the last one was exactly.
Okay, there's assault, skirmisher, recon, controller, and support.
Yeah, I don't remember what controller did it. Some of them were like, I think
they took out tank or whatever it was called before.
They don't explain what they are when you're like looking at them in the menu. You probably have to look them up.
Ash is no longer a skirmisher. Ooh.
It wasn't. Isn't she in like the recon?
She's an assault now.
Oh, she's assault. Okay, that's not too bad. But yeah, that's it's basic gist of it. There's more stuff to it now, but that was the stuff that really stood out to me the most out of all the updates that I've seen. They added in the new gun. I think it's called like the Nightmare or something like that. I've seen people use it.
They did make Gibby a support. That's so strange. Did he keep his damage reducing perk?
I imagine so. I imagine he's mainly support because of his dome and his fast reviving.
I hope he kept his like.
I don't think they changed any.
Apex Legends assault class is all about combat initiation and utility during a firefight. I'm sorry, I'm reading these out loud. I know.
I don't think they changed anything about like any of the characters' abilities or perks. As far as I seen, I think it was just the class system, and then they obviously got the new passes for each class. And some of them are new, like the weapon thing is new. Being able to craft your allies' beacons is new. I think Skirmisher has like a newer thing. But yeah, that's basically what was going on with Apex. It was like some W's and some L's for me.
Oh shit!
What's up?
So they've given Assault. So Assault is the new class, right? It's the new one.
Yeah.
So Assault characters get an extra stack of ammo per inventory slot.
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was the other thing.
That's pretty cool.
It's not bad. And then they updated the firing range, which is pretty cool. You can get the bots from
I'm excited for that. I haven't seen it yet.
It's not bad. Like you can get the bots to strafe, and you can get them to fight. I think you can get them to fight back without having to do the Easter egg thing now. It's pretty nice. Other than that, it's not super different. You can customize the range now with like settings in there when you get in there. But yeah, anything else you want to say about Apex before we move on to the next thing?
Sorry, I had things I was going to say. I just got into reading these things. Apparently, the skirmisher can track care packages, what's in it, and what's been taken from them.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that was what. Yeah, that's interesting how they could see what's been taken from them as well.
Also, care package weapons are getting super buffed, apparently.
Yeah, honestly, like. My take on it is just like it's a cool update, but at the end of the day, I think BR is dying as a genre of gaming.
Oh yeah,
I personally think it needs to die.
Is. I think it needs to calm down or it will die.
I think that's what killed me about like just the timing of it, with like it's starting to slow down a little bit, and then like Tim and Cypher and all of them announcing their Project V, which is their battle royale that they're building, which is like more power to them. I mean, like I hope they get it done soon, and like it's a good game. But by the time they release it, like honestly, I don't even know if I wonder if they'll even still be playing BRs, or if they'll just go back to normal like casual FPS Call of Duty no BR kind of things.
Yeah.
I guess moving on from that, so.
I had more stuff to say, but I don't remember what it is at the moment. I just got distracted and lost my train of thought.
I feel it. So Redfall came out, and boy, that is the hottest pile of garbage I think that we've gotten as far as games go. In a while.
I was thinking about buying it. I'm so glad I didn't.
I'm so upset. I was so
steaming pile of shit.
I was so excited. I was like, this is going to be a good game. Like, this is going to be like a really nice like Xbox, slap title. And I was because I have Arcane Studios backing it, and I'm like, I love the Dishonored series, and I was just like, this is like a game that like incorporates what Arcane does in their game from like Dishonored and Prey, and like making it multiplayer. I was like, this is gonna be a solid game. And then it just came out, and I was ready to play. I didn't realize that it was like the second, and I started seeing videos posted about it, and they were not good. And I'm just like,
well, I mean, Steam has it rated as a 5 out of 10. Do you know how hard it is to get below like a 6 or a 7 on Steam?
It's bad. And Phil Spencer came out and he made a public apology because the game was so bad, like on release. And I'm hoping
it doesn't feel like he knew it was going to be that bad.
I don't think he did. Like I don't think anyone thought it was going to be that bad. That's the thing about it, is like with all these games coming out, all these AAA games coming out that people are buying, and they're trying to be utter garbage, and I'm like, does quality like tests not exist anymore? Do they not quality of life in games? Like what's going on with that?
With what is it, free being able to just set out a game on beta and have people do it for free labor without having to hire professional beta testers. They basically skip the quality step by doing that.
That's the thing that kills me about those. I've seen the videos of people playing it like during the beta. They got invited to play it early, and there was no complaints about it whatsoever. And I'm like, how were the bugs not present when the game? How did the game get more bugs when it released, and it had less when it was in the beta? Unless people were just like, unless they were just paid off to give the game good reviews, which is that's possible too.
Yeah,
like money's money possible at the end of the day. But yeah, it was pretty rough. Like it was obviously the locked at 30 FPS thing was a big deal.
Oh my god, I can't believe someone in this day and age locked a game at 30 FPS.
I can't believe they fucking announced it like that. Like it's like how do you in 2023 with the amount of with how far we've pushed like consoles and computers, how are you going to sit there and be like, okay, well, we're going to launch this game and it's going to run at 30 FPS.
30 FPS.
And I'm like, It's like you might as well just like just made polygons. You might as well just go back to like old like PlayStation
like, this is
type
supposed to be a
graphics.
AAA game.
Yeah, they forgot a couple of the A's. They fell off.
I don't even think it constitutes A's. Like maybe an F.
Is it a triple C game?
Nah. Triple F game.
Like, I'm really hoping that, you know, because he at least made the public apology about it, so at least he acknowledges it, and I'm hoping that they get a really nice patch pushed out soon.
I don't know if you can fix that, man.
I don't know, like, well, because like the stuff with the AI
like,
too.
How do you fix the AI with a patch?
I think you can fix the AI with a patch.
You have to release basically. You'd have to rewrite the AI, and then, like, from what I've heard, from especially from what you told me, that's like a broken AI. You'd either have to find exactly what's wrong with the AI and fix it, and then send the patch out, or rewrite the AI, and then just patch it through by rewriting the one in the game, which would be like basically releasing a new game for it.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's this thing that,
and neither one of those options are good because they're going to take a lot of time.
Yeah, I really feel like part of the issue of this is like just building up hype for games before they release. I think we need to slow down and stop doing that, because we're building up so much hype for these games, and then they drop and they're bad, but having so much
garbage,
having so much hype built behind them before they come out makes them even worse.
Yep.
And it's just like, and you get hype going, and people are excited. People that didn't know about the game or wasn't sure about getting it are now like, well, everyone's talking about it. Like, I gotta buy it, and they're buying into this hot piece of garbage, and then they're just essentially like stuck with it.
Stealing money is what it feels like. It feels like they're stealing $70 from every person who buys that game.
But it's like a pattern, because like these companies are doing this where they're releasing these games, and then like it's getting
they're not releasing them finished.
They're waiting to see, honestly, if they need to finish them, because they're waiting to see if people are willing to put up with what it is at its current state, or if they're just not like going to buy it or refund it, or just not going to play it. But they're waiting to see if there's enough backlash from the game being so bad to come out, and then they release a patch literally usually like a week later, and it's like a patch that usually fixes everything. But it's been a thing it's been like a staple with gaming companies recently to see how far they can push how much the game costs versus how well the game runs.
A lot of people complained about it back in the day, but you know what I miss? The days of DLC where you could buy a DLC and basically get like a second game for a cheaper price that just continued the story of the game.
I mean, even the times before that where it was just a free update that you would get, like, you know, like Elden Ring really did it right. Like, it's crazy. Like, we're getting to a point in gaming where like we don't want a bunch of content as much anymore. Like, that we don't want like a game to come out and then have planned content. We want the game to come out with all the content, and that's just what we're into. Like, we don't want battle passes. Like, you don't need battle passes. You don't want microtransactions. You don't want like I don't really know another thing.
Boxes.
Like, it's just like the way that Elden Ring did it, where it was like it didn't have those things, and it wasn't limited.
I've never
like
played Elden Ring, so
we're going to do that at some point. We're going to do a co-op run through Elden Ring. That is 100% happening. That game is amazing.
I don't know if I can. I've seen so many videos of guys just like parrying constantly. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, that's one of the
looks like anime fights.
That's one of the.
It looks like a fight out of an anime.
Parrying is like one of the most OP things you can do in any Souls game. If you can get parrying down, you can shit on every boss. It's not an issue.
It wasn't even against the boss. It was two players.
But it kind of takes the fun out of it when you do it so much, because then there's not like really much of a challenge.
I don't know, that video I sent it to you a while ago. That was crazy.
Oh yeah,
it looked like a fight from an anime.
People were insane with the parrying, you know. But it's like the way it was like, you know, and it came out, and the way Dark Souls does it, where it doesn't usually, like, there's shortcuts that loop you back around to the starting area, but nothing in Dark Souls is off limits, like based on like level or progression. Like, you can
obviously there's consequences for not following fight the weaker enemies first and then fight the stronger enemies, but
to a certain extent
you can ignore those if you wish so choose.
That's the thing about Elden Ring. You can go fight, there's like 200 bosses in the game, like legitimately. A lot of them
go fight the strongest boss in the game as soon as you start.
Not No, because there's story bosses that you have to fight to unlock certain areas. It's like a lot of mountaintops with like bridges you got to go through, caves you got to go through to get up to higher planes to fight the bigger bosses. It's not just all flat land, or else you could actually do that.
So I have a question for you. Did you ever beat her?
Oh yeah, Melania. Yeah, I did it with people though. Yeah, I did it with one other person. I was like, I'd taken my sweet time getting through the game because I was like, I want to get all the bosses killed, you know, and just like have fun with it and see what kind of items I could come up with. So I wasn't looking up any build
It wasn't
guides.
Let Me Solo her, was it?
No. I actually did have to do a lot of the work for the fight. But when I did it, also it was back when Bleed had just got buffed, and it was insane. And I had the blood katana, and you could stack bleed on that so quick. And the guy was running with was also running a bleed build, so we were just stacking bleed on her constantly. And it gets to a point where when it reaches its full bar, she takes a huge chunk of damage.
Okay, and this was back a while ago.
Yeah, it went through a lot of like patches and stuff like that. Like I actually was able to.
It still wasn't a finished game when they released it. I just want to point that out.
I mean, yes and no. Like it was finished. You could play the game the way it was. The only thing they really did was like when the game first came out, a couple of things I can remember was bleed. The reason it got buffed is because it wasn't working as it was intended to. Like the stacks weren't adding up the way they were supposed to. And you know, you don't really mess with bleed until later in the game. So like they had to wait for people to get that far to realize it was an issue. And then Radon got nerfed because he's one of the main story bosses, and people were like, he's too hard.
Too strong.
But well, that's the thing about it. I beat him solo, like my 7th try before he got nerfed. So like he was definitely beatable. I guess he was just killing people too often. They were like, we got to nerf this, which is weird for a Dark Souls game for them to do that. But those were the only 2 substantial changes I can really remember. There were other like minor ones, but they weren't like game breaking or game changing for the most part. I know people had a really tough time with what's his name? I can't remember. He gets like there's like an item in the game that you can get before Margit. That was it. You can get an item called Margit Shackle that basically stuns him for like 2 minutes, so you can just wail on him because he was apparently that hard. But I beat him not even knowing that the shackle existed, which would have kind of been nice. It took me 4 tries to beat him. Which I know people are going to be like, there's no way he's correct on that. And I'm like, yeah, you could say whatever you want, but like I kind of just got lucky on him. There was a lot of bosses I beat in that game that other people struggled with, and there was ones that I struggled with that people beat in like their 3rd or 4th try. It's the beauty of like From Software games. It's just like every boss is essentially a different experience for every player. But back to Redfall, like it was just a bunch of issues. Sorry for that tangent.
Oh man!
But it was like
know how they're going to fix it.
A couple of them were obviously mainly the 30 FPS, which I don't think was an issue. That was programmed into there, which I heard on PC you can get 60. But that was about it. I think you can only cap at 60. But
I just want to point out that we've gone through this before with another game.
Yeah. Before we get into that, let me finish this thought. Keep that in mind, or like type it up, write it down somewhere.
I got it.
But there was like that. There's the AI issues where basically what it was the AI for the vampires was so busted that you could get on top of like cars or roofs or even on the opposite side of a vehicle, and the AI would notice you, it would run towards you, and it would get essentially stuck on the opposite side of the car, and it would not be able to damage to you, but you could do damage to it. And the AI was so busted that it couldn't figure out how to get around the car. It couldn't figure out how to get to you. And that's just like the vampires are supposed to be the hardest enemy to fight in the game. They're supposed to be the tankiest, and they're supposed to deal the most damage, essentially, like even just the normal vampires. There was that. There was the issues where hits just wouldn't register, like punching. There was the issue I told you about where I'm just recapping this for the audience, where getting them down to where they had no health, you're supposed to be able to do a finisher with like where you stake them and they die. And there was an issue where you could not stake them after you got them down to 0.
They get back up.
Yep, and then they just get back up in an infinite loop. There was on top of the 30 FPS, there was quite a bit of performance issues on top of that. Some people weren't even able to open the game. It would crash immediately. It was quite the shit show. And there was a couple more issues than that, but that is basically the gist of it. You can kind of understand after just hearing that a little bit.
I think the game is dead, and I'll tell you why. Because we've seen this happen before with another game, and it died.
Which one is that?
Almost immediately. And I know you know the game, because I know you still sometimes play it.
I'm trying to think.
Sky.
Oh, No Man's Sky?
Yes.
Oh, I haven't played that in a while. That game's actually not as dead as you would think.
I know. So I know it's gotten a little bit more popular, but like, think about it.
Yeah, no one really plays it.
Yeah, think about it.
But that can be said for a lot of the games that have come out randomly. Like,
well, no, the thing I'm pointing out here is that like No Man's Sky got so much hype. Like I was excited for it, and I don't really like those types of games.
Yeah. I
was excited for it because it looked amazing. This game, Redfall, looked great. Like, I was excited for it. But just like No Man's Sky, they've failed to deliver what they promised.
Yeah. People are still gonna play it. It's gonna go the same route that it did with every other game. Like the Callisto Protocol came out and it was unplayable. Like literally, it was quite unplayable for a long time, and they released a patch I think a week or two later, and it fixed most of the issues and made it to where it was playable. And now it still has an audience. People played it and they did like the game, but it's the fact that they lost so much of their player base just based off the release of it. There was that you had
just like No Man's Sky.
You had it's either game performance issues or it's just like the staleness of a game. Because personally, like for me, because when I saw Redfall, I was like, I compared it to like Left 4 Dead or like Back 4 Blood, you know, like those types of games. Because that's what it looks like. That's what it's supposed to basically feel like. It's like a looter shooter, you know, but it has that kind of like 4-player co-op. You run through an area, you know, you get to like a checkpoint.
I thought it looked good, so
it looked fantastic. Like I was so excited.
But I'll never be able to get over 30 FPS. I don't even know how you fix 30 FPS through updates.
I don't even know how you even play in 30 FPS, to be honest with you, in today's world. I just don't know how it happens. But yeah, man, it's pretty. I think they'll probably release some patches with it that'll fix it and make it more playable.
Guaranteed.
But
but it'll never be as popular as it could have been if they just released it fully fleshed out.
Yeah, no, it's dead. It's definitely like not completely dead, but it's more.
It's dead in the water, and the few people on the boat will keep it afloat for probably a year, and then it'll probably just die completely.
Yeah, essentially.
Unless something insane happens and they like remarket it and it gets real good, I doubt it'll pop back up.
It's just the unfortunate thing, man. Like gaming industry for a lot of things is like really predatory when it comes to like getting people to spend money. Like, and this is going to segue into my my other thing that I wanted to talk about this episode, which was the beauty of gacha gaming. And oh my god, it's so like, as you know, you're not into gacha games, but I am quite a lot. And I recently went through a thing.
I've hardcore played one gacha game. I will not mention the name. I will not say the name because it is not a name you say in polite company.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nikkei got victory.
No. I don't even think you can play it anymore on the one site that I was able to play it on. Even then, I still wasn't super into it. I spent a little bit of money on it, but I was mostly just playing it to kill time at the time.
What's a super degenerated? Is that what it was?
Yeah, essentially.
Well, what was it? Because I don't know if you can get much worse than Nikkei.
I can't remember the name. Yeah, let me see if I can find it real quick.
All right. Well, I guess I'll just talk on my points while you're doing that. So yeah, I told you recently that I'd stopped playing gacha games for a while because I was juggling.
Already back on them.
Well, I'm back on Honkai, and I don't think Wuthering Waves is supposed to come out, and I've seen it, and it looks cool. I'm going to skip it though because it just has. I realized what I started to hate about Genshin when I started playing is that there just wasn't. it was more about like it's a gotcha game, so it's more about them trying to find subtle ways to get you to spend money as like a way of like enjoying the game more. Like gotcha, like Genshin came out and like I was a day one player. I played forever. I had one account that I absolutely sucked on. That like I just did not get any good 5 stars off of it. So at AR35, I said fuck it. And Klee came out. I made a brand new account, pulled her on the first 10 pull, and then pulled I think Jean on the second 10 pull. And I was like, yep, this is my new account. Got it up to the AR56, and I think I quit like a year and a half ago. And it takes a while to get up to 56. But it's just like the game came out and it was amazing, and it's really still amazing for new players up until you hit like AR45, I think, and after that, personally, because the story is super dialogue heavy. The story's okay, but it's not told very well. I don't really know how to explain it. It's like I don't know.
And which one is this?
This is for Genshin. I mean, the story's pretty basic. It's like, you know, it's something a lot of gotchas, well, not a lot of gotchas, but a lot of games kind of do, or, you know, movies, TV shows, whatever you want to call it. Like the whole getting transported to a different world thing, and then like you had a brother or a sister or someone like that that got transported there with you or something. You lost them along the way, and then when you find them, they turn out they're like evil. Or something, or they're portrayed as evil, or something like that. It's the basic story of it, and it's not bad. But it's like it gets really boring later on, and it's so. Did I tell you about the time that I had stopped playing for a while, and I think like 6 months later I logged back into the game to see how like the new updates and stuff like that came out. Because I think this was around the time that I logged on when shortly after they added the final element, which took like 2 years for them to add, by the way. Like every other element was available in the game on release on characters, and then Dendro was like 2 years later. They were like, we should probably finally release this. I think we forgot to release this, guys, and then just finally flipped the switch on that and released it. And I got in. I talked to one NPC, and I shit you not, I had dialogue for like 2 minutes. And that was with me trying to, like, I started out listening to it and then got bored. I started fast forwarding through it, and it took me 2 minutes. For this wasn't even a main storyline NPC or even a mission NPC. It was just a random one that I was just like, just talk to him and see what they say. And like I did that, finished the dialogue, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to play this game anymore. It's just like there's just so much that you can do that just all feels so tedious. Like there's just NPCs have a lot of dialogue, and their dialogue doesn't matter unless I guess you're really, really, really into lore, which I mean, I don't think Genshin has a whole crazy ton of lore to really get into anyways. It's not meant to. That's not what the purpose of the game is. And then it's like the open world is like the world is so huge, and you're going through and you're trying to find the chests and do all that stuff, trying to find all the secrets. And you're looking up the guides. You're trying to find the animos and the geo crystals and stuff like that for each new area, and it's just so much. And you get on, you're just like, you could spend a couple hours in the game and get like a couple chests unlocked. You like find like after you've been there for a little bit, you're trying to find the last little bit of chests and crystals, and you get those unlocked. And then it's just like I think it takes 3 months, and then they release an update that adds like a new world or a new character, and it's just not worth it. Especially early on, like a lot of the F2P characters for Genshin are still considered some of the best characters in the game, even as far as like the whale characters go. Because a lot of characters in the game, especially early on, most of the new characters that release for that game you just don't need. Like honestly, you've never needed the Dendro element. There's nothing about Dendro that really makes it super crazy or like really sought after. I had a build that I could go through Spiral Abyss in, God, I don't even remember what patch it even was. It was before the Dendro area got added. I know that much. It was like way before that, and I could run Spiral Abyss, which is like their gauntlet mode, no issue.
I know you love talking about this, but you just have to say I have no idea what any of these names are.
What? Well, that's what I'm saying. Like Spiral Abyss is like it's like a gauntlet mode. Basically, it's like you take your characters of different elements in there, face off against enemies of different elements, and you just try to beat it within a certain amount of time or with a certain amount of stipulations to it, and then you get like Primo Gems, which is the currency that you use to buy characters or that you pay real money for. and it was just boring. Like it was like once you kind of beat the last floor of the Spiral Abyss, the Gauntlet, there's just really no purpose. Personally, for me in the game, there's no end game to it, and they've even come out and they've said that there's no end game to it, and that's the reason Tectone quit playing it. And like honestly, people give him a lot of shit for all the shit he talks about on that game, but he's completely right on everything he talks about. He's 100% right. Like I've never thought he was wrong on that. And that's not like like I like watching his content, so I'm just going to agree with everything he says. Like he does have takes that I don't really care for, like based on some of the characters. But at the end of the day, I feel the same way he does on the game. It's bad. It's not great for late game players. And the fact that it has no end game, it kind of makes it worse. Like there's no end in sight for it, and that kind of makes it pretty bad in my opinion. It's just my hot take on it. But like, you can only add you can only add so many characters and areas to a game before it just. I don't even know how to describe what it would even feel like. It would just feel empty. I don't know. It would just feel pointless to play. And like that's why I switched over. I was like I said, I played that for a while, and then I got out of my gacha fix for a little bit, and then I picked it back up, and I was juggling so many games, dude. I was juggling 5. Like before I quit playing gacha for like the couple weeks that I did, and then Honkai came out, which I didn't know was that close to coming out. I was juggling 5 different ones. It was like Alchemy Stars, Limbus Company, which just came out, Higgin, which it also just came out, and then also Counterside, which was a really good one, and I can't remember what the 5th one was right off the top of my head. But I loved Counterside for a while because like a lot of gacha games are like very generous the first couple weeks they come out, when they're trying to get people to like stay in the game, and they'll give you free stuff, and then after that they immediately start like being super stingy with everything. And Counterside was like that for a while, where they were just so generous. Like you could get pulls upon pulls upon pulls by logging in and doing your dailies every day, and you get these special characters and all that stuff like that. They didn't.
Well, that's how they pull you in.
Yeah, but they did this for like 6 months. And that's why I was sticking to it for so long, because it was just good. Like they weren't forcing me to try to pay to get better characters. And another thing I realized, gacha games are starting to develop like the shittiest packages. Like when it comes to buying stuff for those games, they're horrible. Like back in the day, like as far as mobile gaming goes, where like you could get on and like it'd be like, oh, $5 and you get all this material and you jump ahead like 30 levels and stuff like that, and you like unlock these cool characters and cool items and stuff like that. Now it's like you pay $5 and you get like 100 of this currency that you use to pull characters that you need 1,000 for, and that's basically and they're just dog shit. It's like pay $10 and we'll like nerf your account for you, so the game feels more challenging because you're maxed out. Like I just kind of like dumb shit like that, and I'm like, but that happened, and then I started to slow down on the counter side, and then basically all the games just started doing that. Like it's just a normal gacha thing. It's like they get to a point where they're like, okay, we have enough of a concurrent player base. Now let's start fucking everybody over and trying to get them to pay.
Well, that's the point of a gacha game. They're a business model, right? It's give them lots of free things that don't actually matter.
Yeah.
We give them more things for their buck, and then slowly amp up the price so that we make more money until they just stop playing, and then we move on to the next.
Yeah.
And that's like the inherent problem with gacha games. It can be a good game, but ultimately their goal is to make as much money off of it as possible, as quickly as possible.
Which I know Honkai is not supposed to be any different from that, but like I honestly didn't think I was going to do any more gachas.
If you enjoy it, it's fine. Nothing's wrong with that.
But I honestly didn't think I was going to do any more of the gachas, and then Honkai came out, and I saw people playing it. I'm like, this looks simple. Like this looks like I wouldn't really have to put that much effort into it. It like has a very good story. That's the thing that's nice about it too. When you compare the two games together, and you realize that Honkai is like this turn-based game where basically like when it comes to fighting enemies, there's no movement involved. Like it's not any like dashing around like you would in Genshin to try to block like dodge attacks or block them. You're not rapidly switching between characters just to hit their one ability and then switch to another character. It's like all your characters are out. They have turns in a certain order. Same with the enemies, and it's not like
strategy games are fun.
But it's like when they do it like that, it's like so enemy uses his special ability and it's basically just a cutscene. But in Genshin, it's like a whole thing where they have to aim it at you and they have to try to hit you with it, and they move and you have to try to dodge them and you have to try to reposition to get your your bearings and stuff like that. But Honkai doesn't have any of that because it's obviously turn based. But the thing that makes that so nice is they can take the time they're not putting into animations and all these like crazy sequences
and hopefully put them into other things.
Yeah, they can put them into character design, which honestly I believe the character designs in Honkai are a lot better than Genshin's.
Well, I mean, like that's like 90% of the game for gachas. It's like, well, you want to play the game to get these cool characters that look cool and do cool things, right?
Yeah. But on top of that, I feel like they can put it more into the design of the world. The world is beautiful. Like in the story, it's honestly really the story is honestly really good so far.
Never did find the name of that gacha game. If you want, I can tell you the website that I played it on though.
Okay.
But we can do that after you're done talking about Honkai.
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna stick with Honkai for a little bit longer. I'm just gonna skip Wuthering Waves for sure because that's just Genshin to me. Like Genshin with different characters.
It's a Genshin money trap.
Yeah, just different characters. Like definitely better character designs and better animations and better fights and stuff like that. But like it's just the same thing at its core.
Yeah.
But Honkai's nice. It's like I got pretty lucky. Like I haven't spent I spent a little bit of money on the game. I spent $50 on it. But
they still got you, man. They still got you.
Kind of, yeah. Like I did it because I want to get dupes for the character that I really wanted that came out. Our name's like it's like SCELE. But the way they pronounce it, yeah, the way they pronounce it in the game is like CL. Kind of like that, like
CL.
Yeah.
It's an Elvis pronunciation popularized in the Tolkien books.
But it's a pretty dope character. Has a scythe. That's what got me. I was like, whenever they do like Mortician, Grim Reaper, like Ghost Companion type characters, like they did with Huta and Genshin, always gets me. And I'm just like, this is my favorite character of all time now. And but I ended up getting one of the best 5-star meta character in the game in my first 50 pulls. I got her named Branya. Super great. And then I found out that there is an extremely broken build that if you use Branya, Tingyan, which is a 4-star that gives damage buff, and which she's kind of hard to get, and then Seal, which is the main character. The main banner character right now, that Grim Reaper type character I told you. So you can use, basically what you do is you run Tingyan, you give her the damage buff, you give the damage buff to Seal, and then Seal attacks. When she kills someone, she gets to attack again. And she has quantum damage, which is one of the better elements in the game, because like a lot of creatures have weakness to it. And then when it gets to Branya has a secondary action that when you cast it, you can choose someone and then they get to go again.
Okay.
So it's like
the idea is just to get as many hits off with CL as possible.
Yeah, and then Branya's ultimate buffs and increases the crit rate for the crit damage for the entire team. So it's like this endless cycle of like, and the 4th character is just a healer. So it's just this endless cycle of just like feed as much buffs into Seal as you can and then watch her one-shot bosses, which is exactly what I'm doing. And it is the funniest fucking shit.
Well, at least you're having fun with it, right?
Because it was 100% not intentional by the game developers. And it is the funniest thing and the most enjoyable thing to do in that game is just watch her just completely roll an entire team before they get their turn.
Nice.
But yeah, that's basically what I had to. That's basically everything I had to say about gachas. Like, I think Honkai is good. I think it's better than Genshin. Fight me on that. I really do. It's so much. It's so much better, especially for people that don't have a lot of time.
I will fight you on it. I don't freaking know, bro.
But especially for people that don't have a lot of time to sit down and do these super long, grindy games like Genshin.
Well, yeah, they're boredom killers. That's all they are.
Yeah. But that was that for most of that topic that I wanted to talk about. We had a third one. What was it? We did Redfall, we did Apex, we did Gacha.
Trying to think. I'm getting tired. Sorry.
I feel it. I understand. I thought we had another one. I can't remember what it was. Give me 1 second.
No problem.
God, I really can't think of another. What else happened in gaming this recently? Like I
Well,
know,
we've talked about the major things.
yeah, I know Redfall came out, Honkai came out. Hogwarts got its really huge patch,
Yeah.
which I
You
don't know.
said it fixed a whole bunch of things that
Yeah, which as far as from what I had played in the game, which I didn't get, I got like halfway through it. I think I was just trying to 100% out honestly before I did any of the main story stuff, and
as you do, and then you got bored with it.
well, no, I didn't get, I just ran out of time because I've been working all these hours and then trying to get the channel stuff going and then
Yeah.
other games coming out.
I just kind of got bored with it. I just didn't want to load it up and play more of it.
It's fun, dude. Especially when you're like me and you go and you fight the level 30 trolls when you're level 15 and you don't stop until you kill one of them.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, I found a pretty nice cheese for that, and it was very satisfying.
I'm glad.
But as far as I could tell from when it came out, like it was buttery smooth. I didn't have any issues, at least on the PC side of it. Like I didn't have any issues with it.
I didn't spot any issues with it.
Yeah.
The rendering was a bit slow, but it still rendered just fine.
There might have been a couple of things they had to change to make it more playable for consoles, because that was the big thing too. It came out.
That's what I feel like it was, that they were porting things for console.
Yeah, it came out
to
and
make
then
it roll smoothly.
it came out on consoles the same day the patch came out. But other than that, like, we talked about Apex. We talked about God, not much else.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess we could talk about Dead by Daylight if you want to go with that.
Sure. What's been going on in Dead by Daylight?
Not too much. They had the PCB on the 27th, and I think it basically just reverted all the changes that they had originally had about like nerfing med kits and stuff, like all that stuff they went through, which was
There was so much pushback.
Oh yeah, there was like, well, because it was a lot of it just didn't make sense. Like I don't understand the point of nerfing Circle of Healing. Like it wasn't that great of a perk. Like it was very situational. Like I personally don't think any of the boon totems are really good.
So this needs to be established. He doesn't play killer at all. He only plays survivor.
No, on Dead by Daylight I do play killer. On prop night I don't play killer.
I don't ever remember you saying you played killer. You played it sometimes, but
no, dude,
like, you didn't play it a lot.
I was ranked 1 a lot as killer for the longest
Okay.
time. Yeah, I just got to a point where I think it was probably, God, the last time I played ranked and I got to rank 1 was when Blight came out. And I don't know how long ago that was.
Wasn't out at that time though.
Huh?
Circle of Healing wasn't out at that time.
Yeah, but well, you're asking about me playing killer. Like I'm saying, like,
Yeah,
last time
no, I was going to use that as a segue into.
Oh, but like
to that you've played with Circle of Healing as a survivor.
Yeah,
which is different from playing with it as a killer.
Yeah.
So I played a lot against it as a killer, and I can say if you find where they tend to put it, it makes the game a lot easier because you can just go stomp it out and you know where they're at healing.
Yeah.
But it does make the game drag so much.
I mean, to a certain extent, like.
And I'm going to say this now: the biggest thing with Dead by Daylight for me is that there's no time limit. There's no sense of urgency for the survivors.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
Well, there
right
is
now.
a sense of urgency for killers because we are on a time limit.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Well, I mean, to a certain extent, you are like the big thing right now.
Well, our time limit is them getting it done, and they have all the time in the world to do it, but we have to play at their pace.
Yeah, but the 2 newest cores that have come out have been like really heavy built into the 3-gen meta. So that's why the games are taking so long.
Fuck that meta, man.
It's pretty crazy. I don't know exactly what. I didn't hear exactly what. God, what's her name? I'm just gonna call her Technomancer. I can't remember what her name is right now. The newest 3-gen code, the one that came out after Night, which I know.
She does drones.
Oh, is that her thing?
Yep.
I know the Night got like
places drones to patrol places. I don't think they hurt anyone, but they do follow people around and tell you exactly where they're at. They're very loud.
Which people complain about it in that, which I understand, but I think honestly, I think
she wasn't very good, but
she's not. Like neither one of her or the Night, I guess, are considered to be very good. Their whole personality is built around that 3-gen meta. That's what makes them good. Is the fact that they just make you want to die, essentially. That's essentially what happens.
I'm not a great killer. but I could dismantle really good squads of survivors by doing 3 gen. That's how powerful the 3 gen meta is.
Yeah.
It lets you hit way above your play level, man.
See, that's the thing is like when I can see it from both sides because I did play killer for a little while, and it's like when it comes to the circle of healing, I really don't think it was that bad because it's just like it's not like self-care, or it's not like a med kit, or it's not like inner strength. Like it's just like there's a certain area they have to go to get the healing, and you as a killer, the smartest thing to do would be to find the totem and just leave it, because you know if you injure anybody, you know where they're going. And you can circle back around to that area later, and you can probably get a free down off of it instead of destroying it and just having them place it somewhere else. And now you have to refine where the totem is. You just use that totem as bait, you know. But what was
The
it?
problem is that it's really hard to find as a killer.
Kinda. It really depends. Like
I know it's supposed to give off a sound, but like I'm being honest with you, there's so much sound that you're hearing as a killer.
Yeah.
That little thrumming noise, most of the time it'll go unnoticed unless you're really looking for it.
It can if you're really focused. It really they really expect you for that to have like a really 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 good pair of headphones, which a lot of people don't. But I can't remember where I was going with that. I was talking about the circle of healing. Oh yeah, but it's like it's just not. It's like to me when I was playing as a survivor, like I just never really threw it on, just because I think there was a perk that wasn't there a boon perk that was like if you had other boons, it was I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was just not that good. Like most of the time when I threw it down as a survivor, it immediately got snuffed out. It wasn't super hard for the killer to find it, and it's just like either I'd get knocked, like get hit and get in a chase, and I wouldn't be able to get to that side of the map and lose the killer to get the heal off, or the heal was just so long because the healing process in Dead by Daylight is pretty long. Like
oh yeah,
and that it honestly wouldn't really be worth doing the heal as opposed to doing a generator. Like in the time it would take me to heal most of the time, because people are doing these crazy builds, which is another reason why I don't think that totem was really that bad, where it's just like a bunch of like hemorrhage or like sloppy butchers, like a bunch of slowdown perks, like running legion, so you have to do mending on top of having to heal, like just a bunch of stuff to just make it take so much longer to the point where it's almost not even worth it to heal. My thing with it was honestly, I think they should just take it out of the game. I really do. I think Dead by Daylight's gotten
healing.
No, just healing in general. I think Dead by Daylight's gotten to a point where like the way they want to do it, where they want to have it to where like healing is kind of penalized, where like it's like not getting gen time, or you know risking getting caught by the killer to get a heal off to get that extra health state to like maybe save someone who's like getting chased by the killer trying to take a hit for him or something like that. And I understand that, but like Dead by Daylight has gotten to a point where like I feel like it's more of a hindrance on you as a player to have a healing perk on you. Like I could see them still maybe like having like a healing item in the game, like a med kit, and just having that at like a reduced thing. But like I don't personally, at least when I play Survivor, I don't run healing perks. Like I just think they're a wasted slot most of the time.
When I played Dead by Daylight, most of the time I was playing solo, so and I didn't really do who has the self-care? That was
Meg.
Meg, that's what I thought.
I think it was either
a whole lot of Meg, so I never really got it unlocked. So
I think it was Meg. Yeah, I think it was Meg or Claudette. I can't remember which one. It's been so long.
I'm sure it was Claudette.
I know Claudette had botany knowledge, and what was the other one that she could see injured people? I can't remember what it was.
I don't know.
But yeah, like I honestly feel like it could be taken out of the game, and I don't think it would really, like, people would obviously be mad about it. People that need it as like a crutch, you know, they can't play the game without getting a heal off. But
then we also haven't played Dead by Daylight in what, a year?
Oh, I played it in under a year. I've played it probably like I tried a couple games like 4 months ago. Actually, no, it's sooner than that. I played a couple matches with the bots when they added bots to see how they were.
Oh, right.
But I watch people play it, and I see the videos of it, and it's just like, I don't know. People were talking about how with the PTB before, when they were doing all the nerfs to like med kits and the circle of healing, how depending on the build the killer was running,
you know, and this is gonna circle back on something I said earlier. They wouldn't have to do all these fucking nerfs to the healing items if they just put a fucking time limit on the games.
Yeah, that is true. But back when all that stuff was happening, people were talking about like with certain killer builds, like with certain perks, that you could go up to like a 2.5 or 3 minutes on a heal for yourself. Like if you were solo healing yourself, that's how big the penalty was. And then people were like, oh, this is like such a rare build for killers to run.
It's like meta.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's not exactly meta, but I'm like, it seems like a rare build to you because you're like, oh, why would someone run this? Majority of people that play Dead by Daylight as a killer are super toxic, and that's the kind of shit they want to do. Because especially when it comes to healing, people rely on healing so much in this game that having that kind of build where it takes like 2 minutes for someone to get a heal off could completely win you the game. It could completely decimate the team because people are so focused on it. People are too scared to do gens being injured, you know? It's just, I don't know. There's just like a lot of, but I honestly think like the whole 3-gen, circling back to the 3-gen thing, I think it will get resolved eventually. I don't think it's technically resolved now, but I think the reason they're releasing these killers is for one, to meet their like promise to release a killer every quarter, like, you know, they've been doing for years. And for two is like, it's just a placeholder until they can figure out a way to deal with it.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm just like, the only way I can really think of is like they'd have to just add more tiles and make some of the maps bigger to where they could do as a longer spread of gens, to where even if you did kind of 3-gen, there's still a higher chance of getting it off. Because it was like, I listened to a show, I told you this a while ago, about a group of people that did asymmetrical games were their whole thing. And it's a good podcast. But back when they were talking about switching over to Prop Night, because Prop Night was just a better game at the time, and I'm like, they said that, oh yeah, we played a couple games of it and it was really fun and we had a great time with it, and it was like, it's such a nice relief to not have to deal with 3-gen meta and Dead by Daylight. And I was just like, oh, you haven't played Prop Night enough. You have not, because it is the exact same shit.
It really is, but like, I feel like in Prop Night it's a bit easier, especially if you have like a Chris on your team.
Yeah, because you have powers. Like, it's like,
yeah.
And there's actually
powers.
Yeah, there's actually like fighting back too. Like, the whole point of the game is to kind of like, every player has something that counters the killer in some way. That just makes it easier. Like the flashlight stun with Kate. Yeah, that's a pretty long stun, to be honest. Like
the invisible boy.
The cheeky moves you can get off with Chris, like, and just sitting on shelves and just transforming into props when like the killer comes near and they just don't think you're there because you're like 20 feet away doing a gen.
Also, hashtag justice for Invisible. They took away, they nerfed him immediately, man.
Yeah.
Sadness.
But there are a couple good, there's a couple other ASIM games that are on the horizon. Like, I've heard people talk about like White Noise, and like, I never played that one. I heard it wasn't that great. VHS was apparently really popular for a while, and it's kind of taken a turn for the worst, from what I hear at least. Like, honestly, they don't sound interesting enough for me to really play them. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's supposed to be, that's why I had you wishlist that like a month or so ago.
Yeah.
Because apparently people that wishlist it have a chance of getting invited to the beta or alpha or whatever when it releases in like a month or so.
It'll probably be an alpha.
Yeah. Well, the gameplay I've seen of it, it looks really good, honestly. Like, that would definitely be the Dead by Daylight killer for me, in my own personal opinion. Like, it's not, I don't think there's any fighting involved in that one. Like, there's no fighting back against the killer like you can with some of the perks in Dead by Daylight, like the flashbangs and stuff like that. And it's like, I think it's versus 3 killers. It's like 3 or 4 survivors versus 3 killers, and you're just trying to escape, and there's like different ways to escape. But like, sound is like a thing you have to worry about, like different things like that. Like, Bubba going.
What's the name of this game?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're getting their own
game.
game.
Looks interesting, I'll be honest with you.
I'm super excited for it. I hope the alpha or the beta or whatever comes out soon. Even if it should, because I think the game has planned a full release by August of this year. So yeah, they definitely got DBDs definitely got their work cut out for them when it comes to that, because I don't know what.
Also, DBD is kind of like, they haven't actually changed in what.
Yeah, it's the same formula. There's just too many killers. there's too many killers, there's too many survivors. I think they really should have slowed down on it and just focused on game mechanics. Because like the only things you can do in the game is do gens and cleanse totems, and that's it. Like it's all it's been. And even totems were worthless for a while, up until they added boons and they gave you more of a reason to go.
Still kind of useless.
Yeah, it's just really for points. Like I remember back when the totems, like when you would cleanse a totem, I think it would get you like 1,000 points for cleansing a lit totem, and it was like only like I think it was 250 for cleansing a dull one. And now I think you get 1,000 for cleansing dull ones and like 2,000 for cleansing lit ones. It's not much of a difference, but God, it really did make a difference back then. But I don't know what exactly is going on with Dead by Daylight right now as far as like if they're fixing the 3-gen meta. Honestly, I think a way they could do it to where people wouldn't really be bothered by it as much is just until they can figure it out, remove the match blood point cap, or at least double it to where like, your actions, like your cooperative, your, objective, stuff like that, those are usually capped at like, I think the max points you can get in a match at Dead by Daylight is like 36,000. Like that's your max amount of blood points you can get before it fully caps out. I think each category caps out at 5,000 for your objective and all that stuff like that. But it's like, just double it, and it just gives people more points to grind. Like it's like their game is going to be long regardless, but at least if it's long and they can get more out of it, because it just feels so lackluster to play a game and it's supposed to be like maybe a 10 or 15 minute match and it's like a 45-minute match, but you got the same amount of blood points because you capped within the first 10 minutes. The
longest DBD game I ever played was like 4 hours.
Jeez.
I wanted to die so bad.
That's what a lot of survivors want to do, but like a lot of the killers on top of that just don't kill the survivors. They just kind of fuck with them. It's like a toxic thing. It's like you just kind of have to deal with me.
Survivors were hiding from me. It was a 3-gen situation. I didn't even try to. They put themselves into it, strangely enough.
I think I remember you talking about this. I think I was in a Discord call with you when this was going on. This was back before they added in-game collapse.
Yeah, and it was just fucking sat there for 2 hours, because the game had already been going on for forever. And then we sat there for 2 hours waiting for these fuckers to either let me kill them or figure out a way to get me off the gens.
Yeah. And
I wasn't even trying that hard to watch the gens.
Oh, man. But yeah, I think it's in a weird state right now where it's like I don't think they can just put a timer on a match, because I feel like that would really hurt a lot of the killers as far as like the points they get,
So putting a timer on the match they would have to change a lot of things with it, right? But notwithstanding mechanics and stuff, the problem with putting a timer on the match is that it makes 3-gen stronger.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that's the real problem with it. I still think they should do it, but I think they should figure out a way to stop 3-genning if they do.
Yeah.
Because at that point the goal is to make the games not last 2 hours long.
Yeah. Well, that's all we had. Is that all you have left to say on Dead by Daylight?
There's probably more, but I can't. I'm so tired.
I gotta
go to bed.
Yeah, I think we should
fall asleep over here.
Yeah, I think we should probably wrap this one up.
Next time we need to start a bit earlier.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think we'd be going this long on the streams, but so basically, like, to explain what we're trying to do here is we have a gaming channel that we run where we're basically just doing live streams right now for roguelike games, which is a game.
My streaming is down right now. Something's wrong with my OBS. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, we'll get that figured out. But basically what we want to do as far as the podcast side goes, which is this now listening to it as we're talking about it seems more like a kind of news kind of thing. We give updates on like what we're doing.
Well, we definitely had hot takes in the first episode.
Yeah, I mean, we had some with this one too. The first episode was like, it was more scatter all over the place, but the first episode we technically ran was also anime, which is a lot easier to get takes for than it is for gaming. But that's basically it. That's what we're trying to do with it. And if you like this,
thanks for tuning in, guys.
If you like this,
I hope I wasn't too quiet during this. I'm just super tired right now.
If you like this kind of this kind of stuff. Like, give us some topics to talk about, and I hope you like this. And give us if you're into podcasts or gaming videos, be sure to give us a sub or like some of the videos. Really appreciate it. And yeah, give us some suggestions, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
See ya.